so I've had, I think, 7 drones. Not all crashed. I think I've only crashed 2.
Okay, but you kept upgrading it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So my very first drone I bought, I was like, I've always wanted a drone. And I was like, okay, when I was in the Philippines, I was like, I'm heading to Bali. I need a drone.
Ooh.
So I bought this drone.
Yeah.
And I flew it like maybe twice in the Philippines back home.
Okay.
And so I go to Bali and I'm like, I left it on the beach, setting up my camera. And as soon as I was ready to fly, massive wave just comes in. Got it wet. No good.
No.
Yeah. I was heartbroken.
I felt that wave as soon as you told it inside my heart and just engulfing me and making me feel sad for you about that.
I was so sad and I was like, I can fix this. It's salt water. You can't.
You're like, we can salvage this. You're trying to convince yourself.
And it's a Phantom 3, so it was big. So I like, half of my luggage was my drone and I'm like carrying this around for like a month and a half so I can take it home here and I can try and fix it and buy parts. No good. So I bought my second one and that lasted me a few bit.
Yeah.
And so my recent purchase, I upgraded to the Mavic Air 2.
Okay.
Because it's small, it's compacted. Literally the way I flew my drone is I would set it up and I would hold it and I would just throw it up.
Okay.
I was confident that I would throw it up and it would hold itself.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this new one, it was this high. I was like crouched down and I was like, okay, it's ready to fly. I threw it up, it didn't fly, it crashed, it hit the gimbal and the camera itself.
Oh no.
It fell apart.
Wait, which one? Which one was this? Was this one of the Mavic Airs?
The Air 2, like a new one. This was the first time I flew this drone.
Did you get the insurance on it?
I did. So I sent it back, so they fixed it. They're like, you were in uneven space. And I was like, I was in a parking lot.
But it was supposed to do what you needed it to do.
Exactly. But it just did, it even started spinning. And then I threw it up. I was like, oh, that didn't hold. I literally stood there. I was so embarrassed.
Was anybody watching you?
Well, I was doing a job at the time. And I was like, oh, I want a footage of this place. Yeah. And I was like, okay, sounds good. I'll fly it out. And so everyone's inside and I'm outside in the parking lot. And I'm like, okay, I'm getting it ready. I threw it up. I literally packed that thing so quick. I go inside with my backpack. I'm like, are you guys ready to go? I didn't say anything.
You're like, I'm done now.
And I was like, I couldn't get anything. It's too windy.
Oh no!
It was.
I didn't get the footage I was looking for. Don't ask why.
Honestly, I was heartbroken.
Yeah. Well, at least you were able to deal with that though, and you got the insurance for it, right? Yeah. Hey everybody, thanks for joining us on another episode of It Was F8, brought to you by John's Photo. I'm your host, Jess Loso, and today I am joined by Paul.
That's me.
Thanks for coming in today.
Absolutely, it's a pleasure.
Yeah, how long have you been in Saskatoon for?
I moved to Saskatoon in 2011 from North Battleford.
Okay.
But I haven't lived here all the time. I lived here from 2011 to about 2017.
Okay.
And then I went to go backpack Southeast Asia.
Ooh.
And
For how long?
I want to say a year.
Okay.
And then came back here, and then I decided to move to Toronto after a month.
Oh.
So lived there for almost 2 years. Mm-hmm. And then I decided to leave again, so I lived in Australia for,
How did you like Australia though?
Absolutely phenomenal. I would recommend Australia to anybody that I know.
And you stayed there for 2 years?
1 year.
1 year,
Yeah.
Okay.
I actually was born in the Philippines. Mm-hmm. I grew up there until I was about 15, and then my family moved to Canada, which was amazing. And then I love traveling, so that's where I kind of surround my content. Everything that I have right now, all the experiences that I have came from traveling, experiencing culture and all that stuff. It inspired me to basically be a content creator. So it's awesome.
What drew you in and inspired you to start creating content?
I remember buying my first camera when I lived in Toronto, and I booked not a one-way flight. I booked a flight to Iceland, and I was like, well, this is the cheapest flight I can find from Toronto. It was like $300 round trip. I was like, okay.
No.
Yeah, so it got me to buy that flight, right? And then I look up accommodations later and everything. Oh my goodness. Iceland is one of the most expensive countries you can travel with. They get you with the flight, so then you can go there. And then you spend all this money to stay there.
Get you flown out there, and then you realize, like,
this is expensive.
But it's so tiny.
It's so tiny, but I think that's what it is. They can't produce enough food. So everything is expensive.
You're like, we got you.
Exactly. So anyway, so I was researching and everything, and I was like, man, this place is beautiful. I can't just take a GoPro here. I can't just take my phone that was like maybe an iPhone 7 or 8 back in the day.
Yeah.
So it wasn't as good. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna invest in a A7, which was my first camera. And I was like, this is fancy. I'm rolling, you know, like, and then I bought my first drone as well.
Okay.
And I love drone footage. So when I was in Iceland, I rented a camper van, so I drove the whole country around. Yeah. And as I was driving, I literally could not stop smiling. I literally could have broken my neck just like looking around like this.
I do. You know what? I have the same problem because like whenever I'm driving, I tend to do lots of landscapes or like night photography, and so whenever I'm trying to pull myself away from the northern lights, whenever I'm driving away, I'm like,
yes.
Or like if I'm in the mountains, I'm like, I need to pay attention where I'm driving, but also this is beautiful.
It's so bad, but at the same time, you're like, I am just drawn into the nature outside.
Yeah.
You know, it's very inspiring. But anyways, that's kind of where my little bit of creative inspiration came from. So I was like, I'm taking all this content, I'm gonna take everything back home, and I'm gonna start something there. And so I took all this footage in Iceland, and when I went back to Toronto, I started like kind of finding a little bit of a photography group. So kind of increase your like experience around that, because I didn't go to school for photography or videography. And so you just kind of learn from other people, right? So that's kind of where my inspo came from.
Well, it sounds like you lived quite the life. And you're going to continue on that path.
I absolutely would.
So what were you doing before you picked up a camera?
So I was working. I worked for Pepsi. I worked for Coke. I was in the retail industry, and the one proud company that I work for is Keurig Dr. Pepper. I really like just the way they run their company and stuff. So I was their territory account manager in Saskatchewan. Okay. And so when I left to go backpack Asia, I have given them a notice. They let me go, and then when I came back to the country, they're like, "Hey, we have an opening in Toronto." That's why I moved to Toronto. I moved there for them. And then when I went to Australia, I quit again, right? Yeah. But when I came back, it was in the middle of pandemic. But they had an opening in Saskatchewan. They didn't rehire anyone in my position. So it was just left open. And when I came back, they're like, hey, we're looking for somebody to take Saskatchewan. I'm like, perfect, I'm going home.
What have been some of the biggest challenges you've encountered thus far with content creation?
Just with content creation is that like my own brand actually grew quite a bit in the last I want to say 2 years. So I've been getting side jobs and big jobs. So it's very hard to manage your time to get everything on the right time, and I think that is the biggest challenge that I have is. And then there's more that I want to take. I want to keep traveling and I want to keep doing this, but I can't because I have no time. Yeah,
it's that balance, right?
Exactly.
And it's a balance between creating content for yourself and then creating content for your clients, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, I've found that I've found some difficulty, doing the space that I do and taking on my own client work outside of this office job. Yeah. It's like, when am I actually taking landscapes? When am I actually outside and taking pictures of nature? The things that inspired me to pick up a camera in the first place, right? And so it's really important to kind of just set aside time as if it was part of your schedule, right? Yep. But it's scheduled time for your creative practice. Yeah.
When you get so busy too, it's like the spare time that you have, you just want to chill out. You just want to.
Oh yeah, I turn my brain off for 2 to 3 hours after I get home from work because it's just I'm a very social person by nature. But when you're social, when it's part of your job, when you're focusing on your job, that's a lot of brain energy.
It is. You get home, you're like, do I upload this for my own personal or do I just rest?
I know.
Okay, I'm going to sleep.
Right? Well, because if I'm not getting paid for it, I'm like, okay, well, you're paying yourself in the energy re-energizing state,
exactly.
right? And you need to turn your brain off.
You just have to sometimes.
Well, and again, it's very interesting to be in this space where it is both of our jobs to be in the marketing industry, digital marketing industry. And so when you have to do it one outside of your time for yourself on a personal level, I'm like, really, do I
need to come up with this reel right now?
Right?
I don't have the creative capacity right now. I've used it the last 8 hours.
I'm all out of juice. I'm all out of creative juices. I'm all out of physical energy, right? And mental energy, right?
Very much so.
Yeah. So it's balance. It will, and again, it's also that go mentality, right? People want things now, right? You want to deliver. You want to be giving your A game every time.
Absolutely.
But it's difficult,
sometimes
right?
it's difficult.
I need to give myself my A game.
Yeah, exactly.
What kind of equipment, planning, and prep do you utilize to create your content?
So for equipment, I have my beloved Sony cameras. I absolutely love Sony.
How many bodies do you have?
I have 2. I have an A7 III and a 4.
Okay.
All from Don's.
Oh, why, thank you. We appreciate it. But how long have you had both of them for?
So when I had my A7 I, I had that from Toronto all the way to Australia. And then when I got to Australia, I was like, I really want to try and get into video.
Yeah. So you weren't doing video before that?
No, it was just photos.
Yeah.
And well, I mean, like Instagram and TikTok wasn't a thing. This is in 2019, right?
Before the pandemic.
Yes.
Yeah.
So photos were like absolutely amazing, right?
How that surged during the pandemic and the need for video, like how a lot of photographers had to make that shift.
Yeah. Crazy.
For to survive, right? And even now how that's, again, you have to have like you're behind the scenes. You have to have something with your phone. You again, it's shifting away from just traditional photographer or videographer. You become a content creator, right? Because you have to be mixed.
You're not just a photographer anymore. You have to be.
You're your own market. You are your own marketing team, right?
Yes.
And you have to be your own hype man kind of thing.
You have to be.
You do.
Yeah.
To survive in this industry, yes, you do. You have to be consistent, and you have to hype yourself up, and you have to have just enough content to keep everybody happy.
Exactly.
It's like it's a job.
It is. So yeah, I had switched my A7. I was like, okay, this does not take videos. So I got rid of it. And I bought an S2. And I was like, oh my goodness, this camera is phenomenal. I didn't even know what I was getting into with the A7 III and A7 IV. I was like, S2, okay. And then, so when I lived in Australia, I was working as a tour guide. And so I was like traveling and then getting photos, and I was like, I was loving life. I was like getting all the content I needed. And when I came home, I was like, this S2 is not as great here, because I mean, I didn't have beaches, I didn't have the easy stuff to shoot.
Being in the middle of the prairies is a little bit different being on the coast.
Exactly. So I was like, you know what, if I want to make it into a professional like business and work, I think I need to upgrade to, I don't think S2 and to the S3 was a massive upgrade anyway. They shot the same. I just like the body of the A7 III, and you can take both, right? It's a hybrid camera. So I have those two. I have a A7 III and an A7 IV for equipment, and I've got my drone still. I try to fly as much as I can. I've got like tripods and stuff for work, and like a gimbal for like a professional like commercial if I had to make one. As for planning, I do handle a lot of like accounts, like social media accounts. So planning is very important. So I use an app called Planoly. So it basically, you just put all your content there, schedule it, and they post it for you. Very important.
Yes, it is. Consistency is key. It is a balancing act between quantity and quality. Right? And sometimes you're going to have to compromise on quality to maintain the quantity.
I've learned that literally just recently, because like I was falling behind on my own like content, and I was like, I have all this travel content that I've taken from prior, but like video was not a thing before. And if you're taking video, it was going to YouTube.
It was horizontal format.
And you were getting 10 views.
Please come watch my videos.
Please subscribe and like. Please get me monetized.
Find me a sponsor.
So like I found a way to repurpose my videos from years ago. And they're like, I'm consistent with them now, and it's good. Anyways.
And that is kind of, again, like one other technique is to kind of like, you can take images and make that into a reel, right? Find trending branding sounds, whatever, right?
And that's it.
It is a science. It is a job.
It is.
And I respect each and every one of you that make it a job. Yeah. What would you say is your biggest accomplishment?
For me, when I came home from Australia, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was not planning on being in the marketing industry or like digital marketing. My job there was a tour guide, like I mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
So I loved meeting people, the social part of it, and
Yeah.
finding things and showing people new things or places, right?
Yeah.
So when I came home, I was like, how do I do that? How do I keep doing that? So I started my TikTok. That's why Cookies and Dream is made.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna find a local business that is literally hurting right now because of the pandemic. You know, a lot of customers are coming in. You know what? I'm gonna find a hole in the wall in this city.
Yeah.
So I made my first one. Like not even that high quality. It was just very genuine. I was like face videoing myself. I'm like, guys, I found this chai bar in Saskatoon. It's super nice. Like you can even study here. It had like, I want to say 200,000 views. That was my first video. Yeah, and that brand reached out to me and they're like, oh, like we want to treat you to a dinner, blah blah blah. Like we had so many people coming in.
Yeah, from that one review, like genuine peer review.
Exactly, and like. I knew what I wanted to do, but it wasn't like, oh, I wanted to blow up. I wanted to be viral.
You weren't going into this thinking like, this is going to be my career.
Yeah.
I want X amount of views or like, I want these kind of sponsorships. It was more like you were doing something genuinely out of, again, generally reviewing something, giving your peer review, and just creating some content for
Exactly. It was for myself. It was like, okay, I love traveling, I love doing this. How do I get my fix?
Yeah.
That was my fix.
Yeah.
And it just it gave me a really good platform to be in. And like prior to that, and I guess in between that, I would try and go around Saskatoon. Like before I went into like the restaurants and like the local businesses, I was already thinking about that. I was like, how can I show people something?
Yeah.
Right. And then I started doing places that you can take photographs.
Yeah.
Or like I was doing like random photo shoots downtown in Saskatoon.
Yeah.
And like it just got my name out there. And then I went really heavy on just showing local businesses because I wanted to help in a way that I was using my own.
Taking your creativity in a way that was meaningful and helped to build not just yourself, your brand, but also benefited the community, the businesses, and the people.
Exactly. So that's honestly like a biggest accomplishment for me is that's starting my own TikTok. It led me to a lot of my jobs. Everything that I have now is from TikTok. Okay. So I did treasure hunts, and I would hide those near businesses. So like my first one was in Broadway and I got featured in like the news, like CTV and like Global and stuff. So
how did that work? So were you reaching out to these businesses?
I just did it on my own.
You were funding it on yourself.
Oh yeah.
And just
and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna get these people out of their house. It's I know it's in the middle of pandemic. It doesn't have to be inside a business. I'm like, you're just going out for a walk and looking for these like little things. Like I would hide like 5 things or different parts of the city. I would go put one in the Whitecap parking so that it's like nearby a hiking trail. I would put one right beside a cafe. So then they would go to a cafe afterwards.
That's so smart. Okay, so you told me that crazy thing with your drones, but do you have anything that'll top that story? I was
doing a project for SaskTel with a friend.
Yeah.
So they basically wanted us to do astrophotography. So we've always wanted to go to Castle Butte. I don't know if you know of this place. No. It's just this massive like mountain looking thing. I don't know what it is exactly.
Okay.
But it's beautiful. I was like, me and my friend were really into astrophotography. So it's like, anytime we had free time, it just didn't line up because it would either be cloudy. As you know, like astrophotography is very hard to plan. Yeah, and trying to do it in the summer kind of is like, oh, it's ideal, but it's also not ideal viewing conditions. Exactly. At 4 a.m., bright outside. Right? Oh gosh, trying to do that in the prairies during the summertime, you have to wait until it's 1 a.m. Yep. Where it's completely pitch black. Yep. It can't be too humid outside. You can't have light pollution from the moon. You can't. You need your tripod. You need to make sure that you're not trespassing.
dancing. Yeah.
So when we did this, we had the perfect condition. Actually, we had a little bit of clouds, and we're like, oh, hopefully it blows off. We're on our way there. We're not turning around. So we got there, and it was, you said it was 1 a.m. And we found our spot. We found our angle. We're sitting there. We had our lawn chairs out, having a deep conversation, and we wanted to record this because it's cool. It's like a little podcast for ourselves.
Yeah.
And because he's never encountered this before, and I have.
Yeah.
I was like, I think there are coyotes out here. This is in the middle of nowhere. And there are no houses around. And I was like, so I started tuning in. As we were talking, I started listening to it.
Yeah.
And then I heard another howl. And then another one. I was like, bro, get in the car. They got really close. As they were basically surrounding us.
They're like, they can smell you.
Oh yeah, they can hear you, they can smell you, they can see you. Oh yeah.
You see me. Do you see my entire soul?
Yeah.
You see right through me?
I was like, you didn't hear that? He's like, no, what were you talking about?
Yeah.
Bro, and then so I was like, listen to the audio.
Yeah.
And you can hear it on the audio, just howling, and then they got really close, and there was so many of them.
How many were there?
I want to say about 6.
No.
Oh yeah, coyotes. I was like, we could have been ripped.
They're not even like baby ones. They're like full grown adults.
They are. So I want to say that's one of the wildest ones for sure.
What's one thing you'd love to get a chance to do?
Does this have to be content creating or?
Anything, yeah.
Okay. I actually have a few bucket lists for myself, and I've been crossing them off as I kind of go. One of them is actually to summit Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and to get to base camp of Mount Everest. And I don't know if I can do it, but we'll see. Just training and stuff.
Speak it into existence.
Exactly.
Go on a treadmill, put it at full have your equipment on you, both tripods
for
and
8
one
days. just go on that treadmill for 8 days.
Really though, or I don't know, go up to Banff and train up there, right?
I think I have a few friends that have done it, and I mean, if I'm not saying we're in the same level and stuff, but they did tell me that they had to train a little bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, if I was to go, and I actually do plan it, I will train.
Yeah.
And another bucket list that I have is just what do you call it? Meditating with monks in Nepal. Yeah. I think that would be phenomenal.
You're such a worldly person.
I don't know. I think so. And the thing is, my favorite part about traveling is not traveling. Yeah. It's actually experiencing the culture. As close to a local as possible. Yes, right? Exactly. Yeah. I absolutely hate tourist traps. I don't want to go to a park. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but I just don't like. No, but it's true. I think you need that balance. If people want to just go for the tourist stuff, hey, cool. But there's more to a city. Say for example, New York, there's lots of tourist things 100%. To do. But wouldn't you appreciate the recommendation of a local to say hey, this is where you get some real authentic coffee. Yep. This is some of the best pizza you get. Just little things like that. Hey, there's a little nook at this, quieter park kind of thing, right? And to experience it as if you've been living there for years. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love traveling. I think the biggest part of myself is traveling, and not just traveling, but experiencing culture. But yeah, even I traveled to Southeast Asia, and a few of the countries that I went to was Thailand, and I took care of elephants there as a job. And I was like, man, I love this, and I could live here forever. Yeah. The simple joys of just being kind of away from some of the social media stuff that you see, getting away from your feed once in a while, right? But just experiencing life. Yeah. 100%. It's gonna happen. You're gonna be 3 months acclimated, and you're gonna hit that summit. I'm just gonna be zen with the monks, and then climb Mount Everest base camp. Not the actual peak of Mount Everest, just the base camp. No, I'm already excited for you. You're gonna make it happen. Yeah, absolutely. I'm rooting for you. Awesome. Make it happen. What's one piece of advice to anyone looking to get into content creation as a career that you would give? Honestly, I live by this quote, and it has probably nothing to do with getting started, but just the mindset of it is that judge less and just do it. The thing is, if you start believing in that, anytime you want to do content, let's say at a local business, because sometimes you go there and you're there's people looking around, right? Yeah. But if you stop judging like others from yourself, you don't expect anyone else to judge you.
Yeah.
So then you're just gonna get your content, you're just gonna be consistent with it, and you're just gonna post it, and you become, next thing you know, you're a content creator.
There you go. That is some good advice.
Awesome.
Well, and I think it's so easy to get caught up with that and like our own perspective that we don't really take consideration to like what other people are thinking about, and 90% of the time they're concerned with
They're minding their own business. It's never about like, oh, what are they doing? What are they taking pictures of? Like
some people are like, oh, what are they doing? But like they'll think about it for like 2 seconds and then just go off and do their own thing, right? Like they're not gonna spend 10 minutes thinking about what that one person did all day, right?
And you know what? If they see it on their FYP, they're like, oh my God, I'm in that video.
Right? Or like, that's what they were doing.
That's so
I need to follow this person.
Yes, exactly. If anything, it's more clout.
Yeah, kind of, a little bit, right?
It is.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing to incite curiosity.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I love it. Like, honestly, like, just be consistent. Yeah. Be consistent and just do what you want to do. Yeah. Like, I think I followed those steps, so...
I think that's some wise words of advice. Okay, so that's basically like password, or like I forget what the other new word is, but it's basically there's words in here.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it, or no, I don't say it. I have to describe it with a phrase or a word, a single phrase or a word, and you have to try and get it in 3 tries. Okay. Oh man.
Practice run.
Oh no, this is for real. It's for the bacon.
All right.
Color correction.
Metric.
Light temperature.
Light temperature. Like warm?
Correction.
Oh, what is this? I am mind boggled right now.
So piece the 3 words that I gave you. Or the phrases.
Correction.
Correction.
Oh my goodness.
Light temperature.
Correction and light temperature.
Yeah. And I forgot what the first one was.
This is tough.
Yeah.
I want to say metric, but you're saying it's not.
No.
Color grade?
No. Okay. It's not really color grading. It's white balance.
Oh. That's easy.
I didn't do a good job. I'm sorry.
That's easy. Motion blur?
Oh, motion blur is shutter speed?
Yes.
Oh, yay!
Wow, she's really good. I thought I was good at games.
No, you're great. Oh, wait.
You're great.
Okay. You're great. You did great. No, like that's hard. Like
I was great at giving direction.
Okay. Shadows?
Shadows.
Yeah.
I don't know. What are these?
Opposite.
Of shadow? Blacks? No, whites?
Histogram.
Exposure? I'm just throwing names at you now.
It's highlights.
I'm missing the one that's not on there.
Right? And you're like, it makes sense now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're like,
what
is she talking about?
I'm like, whites, blacks, exposure. Yeah, the only one missing there is highlights.
Sorry. Okay.
All right.
One more.
You had this equipment before yourself.
Oh, a DSLR?
Yeah. She's good. I honestly think she reads these prior.
No, I don't. I didn't write it. My coworker did.
No, I'm kidding. Wow, I suck.
No, you don't. You just guess too quickly. You gotta take your time.
Yeah, I guess, eh?
Well, it was great meeting you.
Absolutely.
Thanks for joining us.
My pleasure to be here, and it was nice to finally meet you.
Well, we look forward to hearing some more stories from you and seeing what comes up on your feed.
Hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see you at the summit at Kilimanjaro.
Absolutely. You'll see my content and just up in above Kilimanjaro and the peak with the flag, and it'll be good.
It's gonna be amazing.
Awesome.
Well, thanks for joining us, and
thank you.
Everybody, thanks for joining us at home. And until F8 brings us back together, we'll see you next time.
Peace.